All right, let's get right into it. When you think of motorcycles or scooters, especially in a place like India, one name probably pops into your head: Hero MotoCorp. And we're not just talking about a big company here. These guys are an absolute behemoth in the industry. But the story of how they got to the top? Well, it's one of the most incredible stories in modern business. So, just to give you a sense of the scale we're dealing with, get a load of this number. Over 100 million. That's how many motorcycles and scooters they built by 2021. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's a staggering figure, and it's why they've been the world's largest two-wheeler manufacturer by volume for more than 20 years straight. And that brings us to the really wild part of this story, the central question. How on earth did the world's #1 motorcycle maker get there by breaking up with its most famous partner? You'd think growth comes from mergers, right? Nope. They did it by ending one of the most successful joint ventures in automotive history. It's an amazing story of risk, pure ambition, and a gigantic bet on themselves. Okay, so to really get why the breakup was such a big deal, we first have to talk about just how good the marriage was. We gotta go back to the beginning, to a name that, for millions of people, basically was motorcycling: Hero Honda. So this power couple got together back in 1984, and pretty quickly, through the 80s, they just took over the market with this absolutely brilliant slogan: fill it, shut it, forget it. It was perfect, right? It told you everything you needed to know about their bikes: incredible mileage and rock-solid reliability. And it worked. By 2001, they were the #1 two-wheeler maker in India. This thing wasn't just a successful partnership, it was a juggernaut that dominated for 26 years. So what was the secret sauce? Well, it was like the perfect business marriage. You had Honda bringing its world-class Japanese technology and engineering, the bulletproof engines, the amazing quality. And then you had Hero, which knew the Indian market inside and out and had this massive distribution network that reached every corner of the country. It was the best of both worlds. They were quite literally unstoppable. So why in the world would you break that up? And that brings us to the Great Divide. This was the moment, back in 2010, when everything changed. The decision to go their separate ways. Look, this wasn't just another business deal. It was a massive bet the company kind of gamble. It really all came down to a classic trade-off. Path 1, stay with Honda. That meant security. You get a guaranteed supply of some of the best technology in the world. But it also came with a lot of restrictions. Path 2, go it alone. This was a huge risk. I mean, they'd have to build their entire tech capability from scratch. But the potential reward? It was massive. It was freedom. And here's the real kicker. This is what it all boiled down to. The joint venture deal basically handcuffed Hero. It meant they couldn't export their bikes to most of the world, only a few nearby countries. But Hero's ambitions were way bigger than that. They wanted to be a global company. And to do that, they had to break the chains. So they decided to trade a very comfortable, very profitable present for a shot at a much, much bigger future. So the split is official. Hero is now Hero MotoCorp, and they're on their own. No more Honda tech. Honestly, a lot of people thought this was the beginning of the end for them. But Hero had a plan. They had a playbook with 3 key moves designed to not just stay afloat, but to come out on top. And their strategy was honestly classic marketing genius, focusing on 3 things. First up, product. They needed to expand their entire portfolio. Second, place. This meant doubling down on their biggest advantage, that massive distribution network. And third, promotion. They had to go all out to win over the hearts and minds of customers and build the new Solo Hero brand. And man, did they deliver on the product front. They were smart. They kept the legends, the bikes everyone knew and loved, like the Splendor and Passion, but then they went on the attack, pushing into totally new areas. They brought back premium icons like the Charisma, launched powerful new bikes like the Maverick 440, and even teamed up with Harley-Davidson to build the X440. This wasn't just about making more bikes. It was a calculated move to have an answer for every single type of rider. So their old partner, Honda, couldn't find any weaknesses. They really did build a bike for everyone. And then there's place, their distribution. Honestly, this one number tells you everything you need to know. Over 11,000. That's how many places you can buy or service a Hero vehicle around the world. It's their fortress. It's this massive competitive moat that makes it almost impossible for anyone else to compete with their reach, especially outside of the big cities. Now, let's talk promotion. What's so interesting here is how they blend the old and the new. Look at this data. A huge chunk, over 31%, hear about Hero from social media. So they've totally nailed the digital game. But, and this is so important, another 27% hear about them from friends and family. That's word of mouth. That's trust. That's something you can't buy. You have to earn it over decades. Okay, so that was the playbook. A big product push, an unbeatable network, and smart promotion. But did the massive gamble actually work? Well, the numbers don't lie. The answer is a huge, resounding yes. Today, Hero MotoCorp holds a jaw-dropping 46% of the entire two-wheeler market in India. To put that in perspective, that's not just being number one. That is complete and utter dominance. Think about it. They sell more bikes than their next three biggest competitors combined. And you don't get that kind of market share by accident. It's built on keeping your customers happy. The data shows that over 95% of Hero customers rate their experience as good, very good, or even excellent. That is how you build a rock-solid, loyal fan base that sticks with you for years. So what is it that people love so much? Well, when you ask them, the same things keep coming up. Build quality, mileage, and engine quality. And this is the most impressive part, right? Because it proves that even after splitting from Honda, Hero figured out how to build their own world-class R&D. They kept the magic that made them famous. That whole fill it, shut it, forget it idea, it's still alive and well. But in this industry, you can never stand still. The race is never really over. They absolutely dominated the era of the gasoline engine. But now, the whole world of transportation is changing. Hero is staring down a totally new frontier with a whole new set of challenges. So here's what they're racing towards next. It's really a three-lane highway for them. Lane 1, keep pushing that global expansion that sparked this whole journey. They're in over 48 countries now. Lane 2, push harder into the premium high-end bikes where the real money is. And Lane 3, take on the single biggest disruption in a century, the EV revolution. And their big bet on electric is a brand called Vita. But here's the really smart play. They know it's not enough to just build a great electric scooter. You have to solve the charging problem. So they've teamed up with another major player, Ether Energy, to build out a massive shared charging network. We're talking nearly 2,000 charging points across India, which attacks one of the biggest roadblocks for people wanting to go electric. And that leaves us with the big final question, doesn't it? This is a company that made one of the gutsiest moves in business history, walking away from its technology partner, and they won. Big time. But now, they're facing a technology shift that changes everything. So after conquering the age of combustion, can Hero do it all over again? Can it conquer the electric era?